Welcome to the Fit Show 2022, the ASFP's first venture into the fenestration industry from the point of view of a trade show. We're here for the 3 days. We're here because we're getting a greater level of engagement from people or companies within the fire rated sector of fenestration, and we're here to support that engagement and support that growing community. One thing I did notice from the sign behind me, and I'm sure it's the organisers future-proofing themselves for next year, is of course we're not quite in 2023 yet. Possible wishful thinking, I suspect not. Anyway, welcome to the Fit Show. We're going to be talking to the Managing Director of the show organisers. We're going to be talking to some of our members, and we're going to be talking to possibly some fellow trade associations as well. So enjoy. Morning everybody, we're on day 2 of the Fit Show at the NEC. So a bit of a break from the norm for the ASFP, from our traditional fire industry shows. The reason why we're here is that over the last 6 to 12 months we've been getting increased engagement from the fire rated part of the fenestration industry, certainly in terms of commercial glazing and partitioning. And so we thought we'd talk to the lovely people here at the Fit Show to see whether they would allow us to come along and check out people checking us out effectively. So hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you.
Good. So the Fit Show, we've been back for this is the first time in 3 years.
It is indeed. Last show was 2019.
And we're back at the NEC.
We are.
It feels like a second home for me at the moment, I have to say.
Feels like a second home for me. It's such a relief to get back to it after such a long time.
It is. Hello, trade association friends at the Glass and Glazing Federation. And I bumped into Ben Wallace, who's the head of membership. And Ben and I were just having a quick chat about what the GGF is doing in terms of training and competency for its members and the general fenestration industry. Hello, Ben.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to see you. So, what's been the sort of general topic of conversation over the last couple of days?
So we're really keen firstly we're in support of our members here, but we're in a unique position where we are launching the GGF Skill Pathway Scheme. That's for our members and for the wider industry, and it's really the first opportunity that we have to train people from scratch who are brand new into the industry and give them a proper career path. We're really investing in developing heavily into our industry and making sure that in the future the skill sets are there for members to succeed.
You as a member of the ASFP are probably more educated as a team and as a company.
Yep.
What do you think the Fit Show should do about how it increases or improves engagement with the fire sector of the fenestration industry?
Well, that's a really good question, and I think the first thing they need to do is acknowledge it. There is a sort of a general thought within the fenestration world that fire-rated glazing is a window with a bit of glass that provides protection, and anyone can get it, anyone can put it in, and the truth couldn't be further from that. So I think what we need to do is, as I say, first of all, bring it into the open, help understand that there are specialist systems that are used to build in elements of passive fire protection that you can see through. And then we need to give them some direction in terms of how one should go about researching and procuring such products to achieve the performance requirements.
The fire safety bill was given royal assent, or reached royal assent a week ago, and in terms of everything fire, the world is going to change.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think obviously Fit Show, we have most of the trade associations, GGF, FENSA, CAB, several associations that join us at Fit Show regularly. I think that, yes, in the answer to your question, yes, people they have to look at it, they have to be aware of it. So our exhibit exhibitors have obviously an interest in manufacturing products fit for purpose that meet with regulations. We've also got a very large audience, so our attendants, who are equally interested in it as installers, making sure they're compliant. So it's an ideal platform to cover it as one of the challenges, if you like, in the glazing industry.
Certainly seems to be a level of perception which is of course a very dangerous one, because if your lovely bit of fire rated glass has quickly fallen out of the frame, which has disappeared, then the protection afforded is zero.
Yeah, and of course fire rated glazing falls within the typical standards that, and certainly if it's an operable or even a fixed, people within the door and window industry, the fire curtain industry, fire shutter industry, to a degree, the fire damper industry will be familiar with the performance requirements of fixed or operable elements.
Indeed.
And they're quite onerous, aren't they, in terms of fire resistance, insulation or radiance and smoke control?
Absolutely, and I think part of the problem here is that the standards that have been developed are Europe-wide. Building regs for the UK are specific to the country, and there's a bit of a sort of zone of interpretation to help translate commonly measured performance characteristics into specific requirements against UK building regs.
And quite often at FireX or the fire safety event, there are theatres which cover pretty much everything to do with fire in construction and design and the relating standards. One of the things I was looking at when I was walking around earlier on this morning was, of course, the fenestration industry as a whole has not different challenges, but a broader spectrum of challenges, in the sense that recyclability, I'm not sure the stats. I left this industry in 2007, and incidentally I still recognise some of the faces from it, which actually is a nice thing. But of course, being able to recycle what comes out of buildings is, the green element is a massive. I mean, aluminium is predominantly 100% recyclable. Steel is the same. PVCU is getting there. So that's a challenge in itself.
We're going to have five pathways that the candidates can go through. But initially the glass processing side is, and we've got a cohort which has started now. And that's a complete introduction into the industry, starting from scratch, a base knowledge of, and actually some of the issues you just highlighted. It's really important that you have an overview of what's required of you in the industry, no matter what level you're at. And if we can give a good foundation to build upon, that's going to give really good candidates that can move throughout the industry in the future. So we're looking at building regulations and not just looking at them, but what are they, what's the purpose, why do we use them? The same thing on standardization. Product standards can be a real difficult thing to pick up and interpret. So if we give people the scope around how they are written and developed, and the background behind their reasoning, then that's obviously going to give them a really good foundation moving forward into their pathways. And then as they go down the pathways, they'll learn more. They'll have a mixture of presentations and in-person training in the factories. They'll have the access to the online learning module, the learning portal, and that has the modules in there where we can set deadlines, assign tasks, and that's all delivered through Moodle, which is widely used within education. And we want to build the foundation of knowledge that when people encounter big building regulation changes, big industry issues where a statutory instrument might change the scope of the face of the industry overnight, that people have an understanding of where that's come from and why that might be so really important to their role.
Great, and that's like all of these things, the industry has to progressively improve, and clearly that's a significant step forward. Outside of the training, what have been the sort of the key topics of conversation that your members have, or just anybody that's come to see you, been talking about?
Well, I think on a lot of people's agendas here are the building regulation changes with L and F and O, and as you touched upon the energy efficiency side of things. It's a really important time. They're difficult to navigate, and we're here not just for members but to give anyone some guidance on how they can achieve compliance to building regulation changes. We obviously have approved document Q, which is on the horizon later on down the line, but if the proposed changes that have been rumoured are implemented, that will be a huge game changer. Ultimately those are kind of hot topics, with training and recycling as well. Obviously it's not as simple as we'd like it to be, but with the technical assistance from our members, then we can put together plans for embodied carbon and plans for coming up with calculation methods for members to adopt and navigate their way through becoming more towards net zero.
From a fire rated point of view, what do you think the start point is? Because we know that whatever our start point, or whatever we thought the panacea was,
yes,
up until a few weeks ago, is no longer the panacea. It's probably the start point. The panacea will be somewhere else in the future in terms of compliance and competency and being able to evidence that. But what do you think the bare minimum at the moment people should be looking for in terms of fire rated glazing?
Okay, so I'll answer the question in two ways.
Excellent.
Firstly, from an awareness of the specification and procurement chain, windows, doors, etc. are complicated elements, and they put a lot of performance requirements against that. The first thing we need to do is understand that in this application, the most important thing is that it's providing fire protection. Okay, and then we need to incorporate the other desirable performance characteristics that go with that. We can't design everything and then say, by the way, it needs to give you a 60-minute fire protection. So let's start with the 60-minute fire protection and then understand what other performance attributes we can do that. The second thing, by way of understanding what good looks like, all of these products are tested to consistent standards and have consistent classifications. But what we then need to do is understand what good looks like from a product point of view. That can be evidenced by third-party certification, and typically Certifier is the scheme that is widely used for the systems that we work with. So the ability to understand that the product that is delivered to your site is fully representative of the sample that was tested in the furnace. So third-party certification is pretty much the entry requirement for these products.
Yeah, and of course third-party certification is a membership requirement of the ASFP. So and you know we will never look to lower our standards of membership. If anything, we're going to look to increase the requirements of our members, because from our point of view, if it's an ASFP member, we want that ASFP member, by virtue of the demands that we place on that company, to be seen as the best that the industry can employ from a product provider or a service provider point of view. So third-party certification, definitely. What do you think the future of the industry is going to look like from the point of view that you and I have both had dabblings in the fire curtain industry, and we know that there's a ranking of good, better, best manufacturers or installers, and I was reminded by somebody I haven't seen for over 10 years that there's no such thing as a badly made door or window, just a badly installed one. I apologise to installers. I don't necessarily buy into that particular viewpoint, but clearly I think in terms of investment in oneself as an individual or a business, what do you think the landscape's going to look like over the next 2 or 3 years?
Okay, well, I think the first thing to recognise is currently there's very few restrictions on the supply of these products, and if that's the case, unless you have a deep level understanding, how are you confident that what's being offered is appropriate for the requirement? So I think we need to, much as the conversations around security have evolved and the industry's developed a much better understanding of what good looks like from a security point of view, these things are about safety, about stopping buildings succumbing and also protecting lives. So they're really important, and we need to make sure that the people that are offering these products know what's right and wrong.